Hi there, I'm the book lady, and I bring 2 books to read to you, and we talk about them and just have fun, looking at the illustrations. That means pictures. And just talking about the story. Well, today I brought 2 books, but 3 stories. 3! Yes, Yertle the Turtle. Have you ever read this? It's a wonderful story, and it's by Dr. Seuss. You know about Dr. Seuss, don't you? He wrote The Cat in the Hat, right? And I'm going to read another story from this book because it's called The Big Brag. Yeah, you're gonna like that one. Do you know what brag is? We're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to end with this wonderful book, Llama Llama, I Love You. And the reason I'm reading that, it's a very short story, but Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and I love you. So I thought that's my Valentine for you, okay? Let's start with Yertle the Turtle. And you know how I always love these covers. Look at all those turtles. This is going to be a good story. All right, here we go. Yertle the Turtle by Dr. Seuss. Boy, I have to work hard to get to page 1. On the faraway island of Salamasand, Yertle the Turtle was king of the pond. A nice little pond. It was clean, it was neat, the water was warm, there was plenty to eat. The turtles had everything turtles might need, and they were all happy. Quite happy indeed. They were, until Yertle, the king of them all, decided the kingdom he ruled was too small. I'm ruler, said Yertle, of all that I see. But I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me. With this stone for a throne is the big chair that a king sits in. I look down on my pond, but I cannot look down on the places beyond. This throne that I sit on is too low down. It ought to be higher, he said, with a frown. If I could sit high, how much greater I'd be. What a king! Oh, I'd be ruler of all I could see. So, Yertle, the Turtle King, lifted his hand, and Yertle, the Turtle King, gave a command. He ordered 9 turtles to swim to his stone, and using these turtles, he built a new throne. He made each turtle stand on another one's back, and he piled them all up in a 9 turtle stack. And then Yertle climbed up. He sat down on the pile. What a wonderful view! He could see almost a mile. All mine, Yertle cried. Oh, the things I now rule. I'm king of a cow. I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house. And what's more beyond that, I'm king of a blueberry bush and a cat. I'm Yertle the Turtle. Oh, marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see. And all through that morning he sat there up high, saying over and over, oh, a great king am I, until long about noon. Then he heard a faint sigh. What's that? Snapped the king, and he looked down the stack, and he saw at the bottom a turtle named Mac, just a part of his throne. And this plain little turtle looked up and said, beg your pardon, King Yertle, I've pains in my back and my shoulders and knees. How long must we stand here, your majesty, please? Silence! The king of the turtles barked back. I'm king and you're only a turtle named Mac. You stay in your place while I sit here and rule. I'm king of a cow, I'm king of a mule, I'm king of a house and a bush and a cat. But that isn't all. I'll do better than that. My throne shall be higher, his royal voice thundered. So pile up more turtles. I want about 200. Turtles! More turtles! He bellowed and brayed, and the turtles way down in the pond were afraid. They trembled, they shook, but they came. They obeyed. From all over the pond they came swimming by dozens. Whole families of turtles with uncles and cousins. And all of them stepped on the head of poor Mac. Ooh, one after another, they climbed up the stack. Then Yertle the Turtle was perched up so high he could see 40 miles from his throne in the sky. Hooray! Shouted Yertle. I'm king of the trees, I'm king of the birds, and I'm king of the bees. I'm king of the butterflies, king of the air. Ah, me, what a throne, what a wonderful chair. I'm Yertle the Turtle. Oh, marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all that I see. Then again, from below in the great heavy stack came a groan from that plain little turtle named Mac. Your Majesty, please, I don't like to complain, but down here below we are feeling great pain. I know up on top you are seeing great sights, but down on the bottom we too should have rights. We turtles can't stand it. Our shells will all crack. Besides, we need food. We are starving, groaned Mac. You hush up your mouth, howled the mighty King Yertle. You've got no right to talk to the world's highest turtle. I rule from the clouds, over land, over sea. There's nothing, no, nothing that's higher than me. But while he was shouting, he saw with surprise that the moon of the evening was starting to rise up over his head in the darkening skies. What's that? Snorted Yertle. Say, what is that thing that dares to be higher than Yertle the king? I shall not allow it. I'll go higher still. I'll build my throne higher. I can and I will. I'll call some more turtles. I'll stack 'em to heaven. I need about 5,607. But as Yertle, the Turtle King, lifted his hand and started to order and give the command, that plain little turtle below in the stack, that plain little turtle whose name was just Mac, decided he'd taken enough. And he had. And that plain little lad got a little bit mad. And that plain little Mac did a plain little thing. He burped. And his burp shook the throne of the king. And Yertle the Turtle, the king of the trees, the king of the air and the birds and the bees, the king of a house and a cow and a mule. Well, that was the end of the Turtle King's rule. For Yertle, the king of all Salamasand, fell off his high throne and fell plunk in the pond. And today, the great Yertle, that marvelous he is king of the mud. That is all he can see. And the turtles, of course, all the turtles are free as turtles, and maybe all creatures should be. Did you like that story? It's a good one. You know, that Yertle got a little too big for his britches, or we'll say for his shell, didn't he? And he was just, some people might say he sort of became power hungry. He wanted more and more and more, and he didn't care about all the other turtles. Yeah, well, big mistake. And that little Mac tried to tell him, we're getting tired, we hurt, we're hungry, you can't do this to us. Well, Yertle took the big fall. So I think we all learned from this. Don't get too full of yourself. Because you might, what happens is if you get so full of yourself and you think you're all that, if you fall, it's a long way down. Well, here's another story by Dr. Seuss. The Big Brag. Do you know what brag is? I got an A on my test. You only got a B. I knew all the answers. It's when you think you're all that. I'm just a little better than everyone else, and I'm going to tell you about it. Well, let's read about that. The rabbit felt mighty important that day on top of the hill in the sun where he lay. He felt so important up there on that hill that he started in bragging, as animals will, and he boasted out loud as he threw out his chest. Of all the beasts in the world, I'm the best. On land and on sea, even up in the sky, no animal lives who is better than I. What's that? Growled a voice that was terribly gruff. Now, why do you say such ridiculous stuff? The rabbit looked down. Ooh, and he saw a big bear. I'm the best of the beasts, said the bear, and so there. You're not, snapped the rabbit. I'm better than you. Pooh! The bear snorted. Again, I say pooh. You talk mighty big, Mr. Rabbit, that's true. But how can you prove it? Just what can you do? Thought the rabbit. Now what can I do? He thought and he thought. Then he finally said, Mr. Bear, do you see these two ears on top of my head? My ears are so keen and so sharp and so fine. No ears in the world can hear further than mine. Hrumph, the bear grunted. He looked at each ear. You say they are good, said the bear with a sneer. But how do I know just how far they can hear? I'll prove, said the rabbit. My ears are the best. You sit there and watch me. I'll prove it by test. Then he stiffened his ears till they both stood up high and pointed straight up at the blue of the sky. He stretched his ears open as wide as he could. Shh, 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 shh. I am listening. he said as he stood. He listened so hard that he started to sweat, and the fur on his ears and his forehead got wet. For 7 long minutes he stood. Then he stirred, and he said to the bear, "Do you know what I heard? Do you see that far mountain? It's 90 miles off. There's a fly on that mountain. I just heard him cough. Now, the cough of a fly, sir, is quite hard to hear when he's 90 miles off, but I heard it real clear." "So you see," bragged the rabbit, "it's perfectly true that my ears are the best, so I'm better than you." The bear for a moment just sulked as he sat, for he knew that his ears couldn't hear things like that. This rabbit, he thought, made a fool out of me. Now I've got to prove that I'm better than he. So he said to the rabbit, "You hear pretty well. You can hear 90 miles, but how far can you smell?" "I'm the greatest of smellers," he bragged. "See my nose? This nose on my face is the finest that grows. My nose can smell anything, both far and near. With my nose, I can smell twice as far as you hear." "Oh, you can't," said the rabbit. "I can," growled the bear, and he stuck his big nose way up in the air. He wiggled that nose, and he sniffed, and he snuffed. He waggled that nose, and he whiffed, and he wuffed. For more than 10 minutes, he snapped and he snuffed. Then he said to the rabbit, "I've smelled far enough." "All right," said the rabbit. "Come on, now and tell exactly how far is the smell that you smell." "Oh, I'm smelling a very far smell," said the bear. "Away past that fly on the mountain out there. I'm smelling past many great mountains beyond 600 miles more to the edge of a pond. And way, way out there by the pond you can't see is a very small farm. On the farm is a tree. On the tree is a branch. On the branch is a nest, a very small nest, where 2 tiny eggs rest. 2 hummingbird eggs, only half an inch long. But my nose," said the bear, "is so wonderfully strong. My nose is so good that I smelled without fail. That egg on the left is a little bit stale. And that is a thing that no rabbit can do. You see," the bear boasted, "I'm better than you. My smeller's so keen that he just can't be beat." "What's that?" called a voice from way down by his feet. The bear and the rabbit looked down at the sound, and they saw an old worm crawling out of the ground. "Now, boys," said the worm, "you've been bragging a lot. You both think you're great, but I think you are not. You're not half as good as a fellow like me. You hear and you smell, but how far can you see? Now, I'm here to prove to you big boasting guys that your nose and your ears aren't as good as my eyes." And the little old worm cocked his head to one side, and he opened his eyes, and he opened them wide. and they looked far away with a strange sort of stare as if they were burning. 2 holes in the air. The eyes of that worm almost popped from his head. He stared half an hour till his eyelids got red. "That's enough," growled the bear. "Tell the rabbit and me, how far did you look and just what did you see?" "Well, boys," the worm answered, "that look that I took was a look that looked farther than you'll ever look. I looked across the ocean, way out to Japan, for I can see farther than anyone can. There's no one on earth who has eyesight that's finer. I look past Japan, then I look across China. I look across Egypt, then took a quick glance across the 2 countries of Holland and France. Then I looked across England and also Brazil. But I didn't stop there. I looked much farther still. And I kept right on looking and looking until I'd looked round the world and right back to this hill, and I saw on not this hill, since my eyesight's so keen, the 2 biggest fools that have ever been seen. And the fools that I saw were none other than you, who seem to have nothing else better to do than sit here and argue who's better than who." Then the little old worm gave his head a small jerk, and he dived in his hole, and he went back to work. Now, don't you just love that? That bear and rabbit, they were going on and on and on, bragging about, "I can hear anything. I've got these super ears." Hoo-hoo! And that bear, "Look at my nose. I can smell, 90 miles away." And they just were trying to be the best of all bests. But that worm, he came up from the ground and he said, "Well, I have really good eyes. And guess what I'm seeing? 2 fools." Sometimes when we brag, we do make we make fools of ourselves. Sometimes bragging is foolish. Here's why. If you really are very good at something, you don't need to brag. People will just see it and know. If you are a really fast runner, you're just fast. You don't have to brag about it. People can watch you. They see. Yeah. Now I want to do my quick little Valentine to all of you. And Valentine's Day is close, and it's a fun day. I love those candy hearts. You know what I'm talking about? Love those. And you see we have a heart up there. That's a heart because what else do we love? We love books. Yeah. I hope you love the book lady. I hope you will come back to watch because I will always bring you 2 wonderful books. And we have so much fun, don't we? Llama Llama Valentines, Cupid, lace, and heart designs. Make a card for every friend. Oh, I love making Valentines. Some to give and some to send. I think that's a cute picture. Do you see how the little llama is on his toes trying to get the letter in the mailbox? Well, it's a Valentine. Fancy glitter heart for Mama. Yummy chocolate heart for Llama. candy, cards, ooh, and flowers too. Llama, llama, I love you. See? That was a very short Valentine. From the book lady to you. So sweet. Do you make Valentines? And do you put lace on them and try to make them so pretty? Do you send a Valentine to your grandma, your grandpa? Maybe you give one to your teacher? Oh, Valentines are so much fun. It's a chance for us to make something and give it to someone who's special to us. Yeah. And I didn't make a Valentine. Instead, I brought a Valentine. Is that okay? I hope so. But I sure wish I had brought some of those candy hearts. I really like those. I need a bowl of candy hearts right here, because then I could, grab them and eat them. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed our books today. We did Yertle the Turtle. Now, Yertle, he thought he was the king of all things, and it just isn't true. And the problem is, he wasn't a very good or caring king, right? He was the king of all things, and all he wanted to do was see every place that he was the king of. He didn't seem to care about the people or the animals in his kingdom. Well, the fall was a big one. And we hope that Yertle learned his lesson. Yeah. Turtles belong in the mud. That's where they're happy. That's where they eat. And we'll just say we brought him back down to earth, right? Okay. Then the big brag. The rabbit and the bear. No, I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you. Well, I can smell further than well. I can hear further than you. Oh, back and forth, back and forth. And finally, who was it who figured it all out? Little worm. Little worm came up and said, well, I can see everywhere. I can see around the world. Mm-hmm. And guess what I'm seeing? I'm seeing two fools. I think this is so funny. This picture. That worm is just telling them, hey, bear. Hey, rabbit. Cut it out. Because you're making fools of yourself. So like I said, if you're really good at something, let's say you're really good at drawing, you don't have to brag about it. People will see it for themselves. If you are a really good singer, people will hear it for themselves. See? So I hope you learned something from our books. Happy birthday, Dr. Seuss. You've made our lives, that much better. And happy Valentine's Day to all of you. I'm the book lady. I'm headed to the library. I hope I see you there. And until the next time, and remember, you can find the book lady on YouTube. Till the next time, bye-bye.